no to someone, whether it be at work or perhaps in a different setting, and you just couldn't do it? Have you ever done that? Or perhaps have you ever felt burnt out, just tired and not wanting to do anything else? A lot of times it's hard to say no, right? It's very hard to say no. Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you over 20 years worth of experience and the mistakes that I personally have made, because I want you all to not make the mistakes that I made, that will help you to learn how to say no and stop this cycle of people pleasing, because people pleasing and not saying no is the fastest way for you to burn yourself out. A lot of times when people are experiencing burnout, a big portion of it has to do with their ability to communicate and to say no. And so in this video, in this live, I'm going to share with you my mistakes and a few pieces of language that you can use the next time someone asks you to do something or participate in an event that you do not want to participate in. Now, I will preface this by saying I do have a video here on my YouTube channel. There's a couple of videos that will help you specifically with learning how to say no at work or in your business or in your personal life, whatever the case may be. So one of the videos that I have is a video that specifically talks about setting boundaries. And I'm just going to adjust my camera a little bit because the lighting's a little off here. Okay. So one of them is specifically, it talks about boundaries. So that's the first part of it. And it's actually a 3-part series that I have on my YouTube channel. You'll definitely want to check out part 1, 2, and 3, because it has some really great insights in terms of how you can start to set those boundaries when you are navigating yourself as a professional, because boundaries are very, very important as it relates to being able to start saying no. And I want to help you learn how to say no and not feel guilty about it. So that's one video. The second video talks about how to say no at work. And believe it or not, I received a comment on this video many, many years ago. I don't even know if the comment is there or not now, but I received a video basically saying you should never say no at work. You should just go to work. And I don't know who the person was, but in actuality, I'm sorry. There's sometimes when you have to say no at work. That's just that's my perspective. That has happened before. And I definitely want to let you know that sometimes you're going to have to say no at work if you want to keep your sanity and not feel burnt out. And executive presence is always a great topic. So before I get into how to say no at work and not feel guilty, I want to go ahead and say hello to you, to all of you who are here today. I'm glad to see you. Thank you for either being a subscriber here, or thank you for coming to visit and saying hello. If you have any questions as it relates to how to say no to people and not feel guilty, this is a place for you to be at today, because I'm going to share with you over 20 years worth of experience and provide you with insights from a manager, director, a C-suite executive, and all that, to help you learn how to say no and not feel guilty about it and stop people pleasing and stop stressing yourself out. So I want to say hello to everybody. We have DMT Diaries. Hello. We have Walters here. I have Khan here. DM Vlog. Hello. Hello. And let's see. Someone asked me a question. What do you think about Trump buying Greenland? I haven't had a chance to look. Did that happen today? That must have happened today. I haven't had a chance to look at the news today. I don't have any thoughts on that just yet. Let me do a bit of research and I will get back to you on that, DMT Diaries. I'm not sure. All right, so we have Z Jester, hello, hello. And we have Nestorov, hello. So if y'all have questions in terms of how to say no and not feel guilty about it, this is the place to be. Subscribe to the channel. I talk a lot about how you can elevate your communication skills so that you can get a better salary, increase your revenue in your business, be able to become that amazing leader and develop your confidence and executive presence. So if you're trying to really, truly, really trying to elevate yourself as a professional, this is the place for you to be. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And oh, hello from Denmark. Okay, so hello. Don't want to make sure I miss you there. So there's a couple things that happened to me personally when I did not say no. And I want to share them with you because oftentimes people don't really talk about this specifically on YouTube, and this is just my perspective. When I struggled with saying no, I reached burnout myself, and so I want to make sure that you all are not reaching burnout and that you are able to really thrive in your careers and your goals. And you have to set boundaries, and you're going to have to learn how to say no in order to do that. So when this happened to me specifically, when I reached my place where I was completely just burnt out and I did not want to just move forward, I found that I did not value my time. I didn't value my time at all. And I share this because oftentimes when we are busy in the mix of things during the day, people will ask you to do things. They'll say, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you help me here? Can you help me there? And while sometimes we are very ambitious and we're leaders, we're doing what we can to try to make things happen for everybody else, we don't take time to make things happen for ourselves. And so we're so busy helping other people that we don't help ourselves. One analogy that I use in all of my videos, majority of them, and if you've heard it, just bear with me, but for those of you who are new to me, I want to make sure that you are understanding. When you are on a plane and the pilot says if the plane happens to go down, what do you do first? You have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first, right? Before you can help anybody else, because you will not be able to help anybody else. So I want to make sure that you understand that you have to start valuing your time and appreciating that your time is just as precious as everybody else, and you have to take care of yourself. So I want to say, Dan Vlog, thank you so much for a thumbs up. I appreciate you for reminding everyone. Yes, absolutely. Thumbs up is so very helpful. It helps the channel get out to more individuals that are just like you, that are trying to really elevate their communication skills as they are developing. So that's the first thing I did. Next, I did not have a big vision. I did not have a big vision in terms of where I wanted to be. At this particular point in my career, I was thinking about starting a business, but I wasn't really sure if I wanted to start a business or not. So I didn't have that big vision. And I found that when you don't have that vision, it makes it easier for you just to say yes to everybody, yes to this, yes to that, because there's not a specific goal or vision in place that is gearing you toward doing something that's a bit different, where you need to put more time and focus into it. So I missed out on that. So the first mistake that I made was I did not value my time. I let everybody use my time, and I did not have time for myself. And then second was I did not have that really big vision in terms of what I wanted to do with my life, with my time, etc. So I just did not have that in place. And the third mistake was that when I had my vision, when I determined that I want to start my business, I want to help women in leadership, I want to help other people become better communicators and better speakers, and I want to spend more time on YouTube with you all, I wasn't as aggressive with it as I am right now. And what happened is I would do a couple things here and then take a break, and do a few things there and take a break, and all of that. And I found that when those situations happen, you're not putting your vision at the forefront of your mind, and you start doing whatever everybody else wants you to do. And this is the fastest way for you to burn out, and this is the way for you to not be able to really accelerate in your careers and move forward and grow. So don't make these mistakes that I made, okay? If you're just joining, I'm sharing with you 3 mistakes that I made that caused me to not say no and caused me to become burnt out. And I want you to not make these mistakes. And the first was to not value my time. The second was to not have a big vision of my life, like what I really wanted to do and who I really wanted to impact. And third was when I found my big vision, I was not aggressive with it, not as aggressive with it as I am right now. So these are a couple things that I want to make sure that you all do not do in terms of your mistakes. Now, I will say that the best way for you to be able to say no, and I'll say it very quickly because my kids are about to come and hijack the live. So the first things I would say in terms of saying no, when it happens, and if you want me to go in more detail, hi baby. If you, okay, go play with your bubbles. Okay, go play. Okay. Okay, she's upset. So I don't know if I'm gonna get to go into them, but I'll say them really quickly. If someone asks you to do something you're not quite sure what you want to do, there's a couple of statements that you can make. Okay, okay. All right, go play with the bubbles. Okay. So, really quickly, right? So now that my life has been hijacked by my toddler. Now, there's a couple things that you can say to say no. Now, I want to go into the logistics of what specifically do you want to say, because I know a lot of you want to know, what should I say? How should I say it? What should I do? Well, I'm going to share with you. The first thing that you can say when you're busy is that I'm not available. Just say I'm not available whenever something comes up. I'm not available. The next that you can say is I have prior engagements. You have something else that was already previously planned. Another thing that you can say is that you're working on a lot of projects right now and you just don't have the time to allocate to that particular event or situation. That's another thing you can say. Those are just a couple of snippets. Check out the video I have that talks about how to say no at work. That gives you a bit more detail and some more context of things that you can say. But these are great ways for you to be able to start saying no and not feel guilty. So if we go in the reverse order in terms of the mistakes that I made when I became burnt out, let's go backwards. So the first mistake I made was that I did not value my time. You need to value your time. You need to remind yourself that your time is extremely important, and don't let people waste your time. Just do not let people waste your time. I have a rule. Let's say if I'm having a meeting with someone or a conversation, we need to have something figured out, or they need to be present within at least 5 minutes of a call that I have. If they're not on the phone within 5 minutes, or if we're not meeting within that time frame that we both agreed upon, and I have not received a communication saying that I'm running late or something happened, can we reschedule, or can we meet in a few minutes after our time, then I completely say that's enough. Time out. I'm going to be off of this call. And I give myself 5 minutes because I think that's appropriate. If there's some issue, this is we are at a place where we can communicate with each other digitally at any given point in time. So there should be some way for people to communicate with you, but I did not value my time, and I want to make sure that we reverse engineer it and share with you some tips that you can do to value your time. Figure out, what is that time for you? Is there a certain time, if you have a meeting or something along those lines, that you will say, okay, if the meeting is not where it needs to be, I need to leave and do something else? Put it in the comments below. I'm curious to see what you all are thinking, but this is something that I want you to do to not make the mistake that I made and not value my time. Now, in terms of that big vision, I made this mistake. I mentioned to you, I made this mistake, and I did not have that big vision like I do right now. And in order to develop your big vision, working with a coach is helpful to do that. I personally am an executive coach, a career coach, and a life coach as well, but I focus more on the executive side just based on my experiences over the past 20 years. But I have a coach that I work with too. I have coaches that I work with that help me gain that big vision. And so that's something I would highly recommend for you to do. If you're struggling a bit with your ability to say no and not feel guilty, your big vision has to become bigger than anybody else, bigger than what it is that people are talking about that could potentially take you away from your vision and cause you to be burnt out. So developing your big vision, you can either do it with work with a coach, or just spend some quiet time with yourself and just really think of, what are the things that I want to accomplish in my life? What is most important to me right now? What are some of the goals that I need to have accomplished within the next 90 days? Now, I'm sharing with you questions, but these are questions that I would talk to my clients about if we were working together in a one-on-one setting to help them get past some of the challenges they have and be able to truly make a difference and really think about that big vision they have. And so when you develop your big vision, that big vision, as I mentioned, has to be here. It has to be at the forefront of your mind all day, every day. It has to be there. If it's not there, then it's going to be hard for you to not say no to other people, because you're going to be wanting to spend your time helping people do this and helping people do that. You do want to be helpful, but you also have to be able to help yourself. And making sure you don't make the mistakes that I made is a great way for you not to do that. Now, the third mistake I mentioned to you that I made was that I was not aggressive with my vision. So I mentioned to you, and if you're watching the replay or you're just joining us, hello, hello, hello. Thank you for being here. I'm sharing with you some knowledge today, some things that will help you be able to start saying no and not feel guilty about it, and stop people pleasing, because that will burn you out. But I shared with you a couple of scenarios at the very beginning when I mentioned how I had my vision, I knew what I wanted to do, but I wasn't really aggressive with it. And so when you decide to place that aggressiveness, basically you're placing energy into something, then you will be at the place where you say, I can't say no. And I'm going to give you a honest example of something that just happened to me today, just literally 40 minutes ago. I had a call with a prospective client, and this was not really a client. It was somebody that was actually trying to pitch me to be a part of their business or some scheme they had. It just didn't make any sense to me. But literally, I was on the phone for 7 minutes, and that was all that I had, because guess what? I made a commitment to myself that I'm going to make sure I go live for my audience here on YouTube 5 days a week, unless it's a holiday and something happens. But I knew that I had to be here for my audience here on YouTube. I did not have time to talk about nonsense. And this is a real life example that just happened to me not too long ago today. And I say this and I share this with you because I want you to start thinking about that big vision and get more aggressive with it. Put more energy into it so that you can truly have that life that you want to have as a leader, as a woman in leadership, whatever your role is. Being aggressive is okay. People think aggressive is bad. It just depends on the context of it, of course. But being aggressive with your vision is completely okay. And sometimes you're going to have to say no, and you're going to have to cut conversations short in order for you to be able to be aggressive with that big vision of your life and what you're trying to do. And so I want you to not make the mistake that I made. I was not aggressive with my big vision at the beginning. When I was just starting out my business, I was just starting out my YouTube channel, I was just starting out on social media, but I was not aggressive. I was definitely not aggressive because I was too busy being in the employee mindset and just wasting my time and giving my time to everyone else except to myself. So I hope that this information has been helpful to you. I would appreciate it if you leave some comments in the chat or any questions you have. I'm really here to help you all on your journey. And I know sometimes, especially when you're out here as leaders, and particularly as women in leadership, there's so many scenarios that come up that you do not have the answers for. You do not know what to say. You're not sure how to respond. And that's okay. This is a reason why you have people like myself that have a lot of years of experience in these particular very friendly and contentious situations that can share with you insights that can prevent you from feeling burnt out and to provide you with some additional insights that can help you become more empowered and be able to say no without feeling guilty about it. A lot of times we feel guilty about saying no, but there's a saying, and I'm trying to remember specifically what it is, but it's basically when you say no to one thing, you are saying yes to something else. And I encourage you all to say no to those type of events, people, scenarios, and etc. that are taking your time away, that are not serving you, that are not helping you to elevate in your career or in your personal life. You will need to learn how to say no to them so that you can start saying yes to yourself. It's important to say yes to yourself, because if you don't, you'll be burnt out and you'll make mistakes like I made that I shared with you that I don't want you to make. I hope this information has been helpful to you. I have several master classes that are on my website if you're interested in taking a look at those. There's a Ace Your Next Interview masterclass at work. There's a presentation, basically present like a pro masterclass, that is there as well. There's executive communication masterclass. There's a salary negotiation masterclass, and I have another masterclass. I've been doing masterclass marathons here for the month of March, so I can make sure all the women in leadership and the individuals that are following me have some very good, solid fundamental tools to help them as we are approaching the end of Q1. And I have an executive presence and elite communication skills masterclass that I'm going to be hosting before the end of March. So get ready for that. That is going to be a very special masterclass because a lot of people struggle with the executive presence because people don't really talk about it and you don't know what to do. So make sure you follow my pages and subscribe to my channel. It's a great opportunity to subscribe. There's a lot of great information that's here, and I encourage you all just to let me know your questions. Let me know what videos you want to see from me. I will record a video for you Just let me know in the comments below what you want to see and how you want to elevate in terms of how you are communicating as a leader. So I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Bye for now.